Hello, everybody. Again, we meet. We have a very interesting and captivating topic today, which will revolve around and focus upon justice. What is justice? Is there a cosmic justice? Does cosmic justice really exist? And what is its relationship to human justice? Are they synonymous? Let's explore this interesting concept. There was a young girl. She was 6 or 7 or 8, and she was celebrating her birthday on the south side of Chicago. And suddenly, a car came by shooting randomly at somebody. And a stray bullet went through the window, hit the girl, and she died on her birthday, celebrating. And the people who were there with her mother and other relatives, they started crying. That is karma. That's how karma expresses itself. That girl had karma with those people. She was supposed to make them cry. And they were supposed to go to church and seek and ask why. There's no action that takes place on this earth without a purpose. Our job is to unravel a purpose. So that was a bad purpose and a good purpose. She had to die because she did something in a previous time, in a previous life, which you don't know about. And the people who were in love with her cried, and the Lord wanted them to seek. And they can seek reading holy books, going to churches, synagogues, or places of worship, trying to unravel this mystery. So then there was another situation where I was looking at the news and I saw a commercial, St. Jude Hospital, where there was a lady and there were people who had children, and there was a man that said, my child at the age of 5 or 6 is suffering from cancer. He didn't know if the child was going to live and die. No matter how much St. Jude try to save these children, some of them will die of cancer at an early age and then do nothing wrong in this life. But before we continue, I would like to say that if you like the contents we have on this channel, please take a moment to subscribe and let us know how well you like this video. It really helped us to get the word out. Now back to what I was saying earlier. Yes, you heard me. This particular boy didn't do anything wrong in this life, and yet he ended up dying of cancer. He had to do something wrong in order to get cancer. We get diseases in the body. We live so much time based on our karma. All of us going to die by being a human being. We don't know when. We don't know where these problems and diseases come by. We don't know if we're going to die in an airplane crash or drown or get shot by a drive-by bullet. We don't know. But karma knows. And if you wish to know, you have to meet a PLM, Perfect Living Master, some teacher who can take you inside this body and take you up to the causal plane, where the causes of everything exist. And then you can see the cause of everything, including what will happen to you in the future. Totality of time and space. And time and space is where past exists and future exists. The totality of the experience of everybody that will live in time and space. The causes are there. Their karma is there. Like looking at a video, and you can see exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and what life and all of this. Sir Isaac Newton, the great astronomy scientist who lived in I think he was born in 1640 in England. He made discoveries of how the universal laws of physics operated. He discovered 3 laws. I'll discuss 2 of them and try to connect these 2 laws to justice. The first law he came up with was that all forces in the universe exist in pairs. These forces exist in pairs of opposite. The second law, which expresses that for every action or every force operating in one direction is equal in magnitude and opposite in direction, which means these forces equalize each other in that second law. Now, how do these laws tie in with justice? The universe is made in such a way that When I talk about universe, I'm talking about the physical universe, the higher dimensional universe, astral causal, has justice built inside of itself. The holy books, most of the holy books talk about eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, especially in the Christian holy book, which means, to be more precise, if you do a good action, good actions, rewards will come back to you. If you do bad action, then a bad action will recoil itself and come back to you. One great spiritually advanced mystic said to his students, if you have a granary with a lot of wheat, and let's say a strong wind came along and blew 3 of your grain of wheat out of your granary into your neighbor's granary, that neighbor will owe you. That's how rigid the law is. Even down to the 3 grains coming back to you at some time. Say if you decide to do something that is good, you will reap the goodness of what you've done at some time in life. But it doesn't happen in one life. You can do a lot of good in one life, or you can do a lot of evil in one life. And in this human body, which is one life that you have, you can do so much good and so much bad that you have to get the reward. And you can get the reward in heaven by going there, or you can get some of the reward by coming back to earth. The same thing can happen by doing evil or bad action. Hitler, let's use his example. He did so much evil. He killed over 6 million Jews. By making a decision and encouraging his military force to round them up and put them in ovens and burn them and kill them by gassing them and then burning them. Now, he cannot pay for 6 million in one lifetime. Of course, he'll die and go to hell and keep coming back. He'll have several lifetimes in which to pay. That's the beauty of this principle of justice. Dr. King expressed it wonderfully when he was quoting the Greeks. The arc of the moral universe, he says, is long, but it bends toward justice. The Greek gods, who lived in different parts of Africa, Egypt, also in India, these holy people, they said there's a wheel. They call this wheel a Wagawan in India. And people would go to that wheel and they would try to put different coins or money on it, hoping that would create good karma. That's not the real wheel. The real wheel operates in the universe and in our minds. There are 8,400,000 species on this wheel. And when you do some real super bad action, you can go down into lower forms of life and pay. How do you go down? You first become a human being. And human beings are the only species out of the 8,400,000 that can create good or bad karma. How can a human being create good and bad karma? Merely by thinking and acting with will on that thinking. The human being is the only species that can use the illusion of free will. If you look at some of my other talks on YouTube, I go into this detail. Whenever we exercise will, we creating karma. Because will is connected normally with action. Gandhi was a great karma yoga. He was a great practitioner of karma yoga. He freed a whole nation by acting in a good way. Anybody who do good things will get the benefit of that. As I was saying about justice, if you read any of the holy books, Christian, the Muslim Quran, or the Bhagavad Gita, or the Ada Granth, all of these holy books talk about karma and the law of reaping what you sow. And if you want to get more detailed on how this law operates, there are modern researchers and scientists who have written books in this area. Carol Bowman, in her book, Children Who Have Lived All Over the World and Remember Their Past Lives. children who have had past lives. And you will discover that these children are an exception. They come back with full memory of who they were in previous lives. Some are born with arms missing or paralyzed. Some are born with other conditions, scars on their body from gunshot wounds that they've had, what you call birthmark. Ian Stevenson wrote a book in this area too, dealing with pictures of children and showing the trajectory of the bullets in which they were shot and looking at the autopsy report. I think one of his books was called Biology and its connection to reincarnation. But anyway, these holy books or these scientific books will show in graphic detail the memory of children, or with the birthmarks of children, of what action they've done in previous lives. Some people are born rich, some are born poor. Some are born with great intelligence. Some are born mentally retarded. Some are born and go through depression. Every experience that you have in the physical world or in the astral or the causal is determined by your karma. There are 3 types of karma, because you can't pay all of your karma off in one life, like I said before. The first type of karma is the destiny karma. Human beings are born with the illusion of free will. Like I said in several of my other talks, free will is an illusion. Human beings have the feeling that they can do whatever they wish. They don't know what they're going to do next year. They don't know how they're going to be dressed. They don't know how many marriages they're going to have or how many divorces. They don't know how much money they're going to make in a lifetime or how many children they're going to have. That is all in their destiny karma. How long they're going to live, what racial complex you'll be born in, what gender body you'll be born in. They don't know this, but karma determines that. And this karma is called destiny karma, the karma in which you're born with. And then there's another type of karma in which I'm calling decision that you make, decision-making karma. Whenever the human being decides to do an action, even out of the illusion of free will, that person creates karma that has to be paid. That's the only time that human being can create karma, is when they decide. If they use another person's decision, they don't decide. If they follow any other person's decision, it can be decision of their teacher or of any other person in authority, they don't create karma because they're following that other person's decision. But when they themselves make a decision, they have to pay a price. Now, that destiny decision is the way in which we, through decision-making process, create karma. But what if you make a lot of decisions? If you're in a very powerful position, a general of an army or a president of a country, like Hitler was the head of his country in Germany, he made a decision to kill 6 million Jews. Huge amount of karma he created. He cannot pay that in one lifetime. Of course, he'll go to hell maybe several times, or he can become a different kind of species and get killed and suffer in those different forms other than in the human body, because in those other forms, you pay off because you cannot make a decision. You just operate out of instinct. The universe throws you in a situation, circumstances are created, and you get killed by another animal, or you get eaten, or you get slaughtered, or you get hit by a car. This is how that karma is paid. And you can become, and several animals or several kinds of species you can go through. Then you get the human body. You can also suffer again, because this human body is made of good and bad karma. You can't escape suffering as long as you're involving and rotating in this awagawan, this huge wheel that is rotating and creating different bodies in which you express yourself through karma. There's a way to escape. I talk about that in several of my talks. You have to evolve to learn lessons. And one of the biggest lessons is to learn not to kill. I said that you're a nonviolent species. You're not supposed to kill anything. You're nonviolent. The only thing you can kill is plants, because plants are fixated. They don't run away from you. They're made for you to kill and eat. But the karma involved in a plant can be very minuscule. The karma start increasing with the different higher species, like an insect, got more intelligence. It can move around. So if you kill an insect, even if you accidentally step on them, the subconscious mind, if it picks it up, then it's recorded, and you have to pay a higher amount of karma. As you go up the scale, birds, fish, reptiles, the more intelligent these upper species have, the more karma you pick up when you kill them or eat them. When you come up to a four-legged animal, a horse or a cow or a sheep, you create a huge amount of karma. If you kill them, you go hunting, you shoot them. For their husk, for their leather, hide, food, you pay for that. You may not pay in this life. And if you kill a human being or hurt a human being, you pay. In the Buddhist teaching, it says, and Buddha was talking to his students and disciples, he said, whenever you speak, take 3 processes before you speak and let them run through your mind. What are these 3 processes? Ask yourself, is it truthful? And then ask yourself, is it kind? And thirdly, ask yourself if it's necessary. That helps you prevent creating karma. Truth, kind, necessary. So, karma is inevitable. And if you create a lot of good karma by doing good action, and you start seeking, because seeking puts you in the direction of studying and pursuing how to get out of this creation, out of this huge trap of transmigration and reincarnation. Reincarnation is real. If you're a Christian audience, then look in the Bible. In Matthew's 17th chapter, 10 to the 13th verse, Christ is saying to his inquisitive disciples, there was a few of them around him. He would speak mostly in parable to the masses. And they would ask him in private, why do you speak in parables? Could you break these parables down? He said, of course. Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. To them it is not given. They can read a different message than what I'm saying. So let me be specific with you. What is your question? He said, we heard from the old scriptures, in the Jewish holy books, that the Messiah will come after Elijah. That Elijah, who lived centuries ago, will come back and precede the Son of Man. We understand that you're the Son of Man. So Christ laughed and said, what do you want to know? Where is Elijah? If you're the Son of Man, then he should have come here. He said he did come. He was in a different body. You didn't recognize him. His name was John the Baptist. If you read that particular chapter in Matthew 17, in the verses 10 to 13, at the end of the verses, he said, they have killed John the Baptist, and they will also kill me. And they understood. The disciples said they finally understood that prophecy was correct, that John the Baptist reincarnated from being Elijah to become John the Baptist, the teacher of Jesus Christ. As I was saying, karma can be voluminous. Like Hitler created a huge amount of karma. He cannot possibly pay it off in one lifetime. Not in even one human lifetime. It'll be several. But he'll go to hell. He may go to hell several times. Hell is not just in the astral plane. It's also in this world. You can do a bad deed in one life and come back and be framed and go to jail, and you feel you've not done anything wrong. Or you can come back at a certain time and be a slave, and they whip you and beat you to death. You feel somebody's doing an injustice to you. God does not make a mistake. And if the person beats you with great enjoyment and you've not done anything and you're just being thrown there, then you have to come back and punish that person. You don't have to punish him like he punished you. You can punish him through an automobile accident. Or you can be a pilot on the plane and everybody will get killed. If you go on some of the news programs or go back into their archives, you will discover that there was a plane. I remember discovering that there were a couple of hundred people on that plane. It crashed and one person survived. That person had a seat in a particular part of that plane. He didn't know he would end up with that particular ticket, but he survived because of that. People who have good karma, they go to heaven, or they go into the higher part of the causal plane. They cannot stay there forever. These places are caught in time and space. Time and space exist in the physical universe. the astral universe, and the causal universe. So if you do good deeds, you can come back and become a millionaire or billionaire in this world. There are different ways to become a billionaire. You can come up with a product, a telephone, or a computer, like Microsoft, and become a billionaire, a super billionaire. Or you can be broke and have no money, or struggle on a job. Karma expresses itself and it's ruthless. It doesn't care what you have done. It's ruthless, it's exactious, and it's very precise. More precise and more ruthless and more exactious than the law of gravity. So remember this. Time and space are traps, and we pay off karma by going to the heaven and living so long there, and going to the causal plane and staying so long there. And without a perfect teacher, we are bound to come back to earth. There's no choice. You come back. And you can come back and be an animal, or even lower than that, and drop all the way from the causal plane and become a bug crawling in the grass for a few minutes, or a few hours, or a few years. Same thing happened to the other species. And eventually, your good karma can bring you back up to a human body. You have a lot of storage karma, but you can't decide out of the storage huge, gargantuanly huge bank account is pulled out of that, and then you become different species based on that principle. I hope I've been clear. Don't forget to push the like bell, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get alerts to all of our YouTube talks that we'll be doing from time to time. Thank you. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.